Hello everyone, I'm Lizard Girl and I have super exciting news. I have 2 new members of the Blandon Family Zoo. Let me go ahead and introduce them to you.
So this is Ponyo and this is Toro.
So Ponyo and Toro came from this really sweet family who's had them for 3 years. They were actually originally rescued from a not so great situation. They were in a too small tank with some not safe decorations or good filtration. I'm gonna show a clip of Toro. He's got a pretty big spot on his back that came from scarring from scratching on a decoration that was not safe. These guys are super sensitive. So it's kind of an emergency situation. They needed to find a family fast, and I've been wanting to get into the rescuing business, so I was pumped. They were super sweet. They gave us everything that they had for free. No rehoming fee or anything, which is great. The tank is nice. I'll go ahead and show it to you.
So the tank is 75 gallons, which is great for them. It does have quite a bit of hard water, so as you can see. I'd like to get as much of that off before I put them in, but that's gonna be a little bit of a challenge because I don't want them to have to hang out of the tank too long.
The other challenge is ideally you would already have a cycled tank that has been sitting for several weeks and you can test the water parameters, but we need to get these guys in here fairly quickly. So wish us luck. Axolotls are very sensitive to any kind of water change or temperature change. So I'm praying that they make it okay. But we're gonna get started. I'm gonna start trying to scrape some of the hard water off as quick as I can because I wanna go ahead and get them in and adjusting to the new temperatures. So let's do it. Okay, another ideal situation. I don't have a case for my razors, and because this is all I could find and I'm trying to hurry. And I opened the container and the razors went everywhere. So don't try this at home. Be more safe, but we're gonna risk it for the biscuit. This is gonna take a while. So at first, scraping the hard water was fun, but now I am totally over it. I think I'm almost done, and hopefully I can do some water changes and clean it extra good later.
All right, here is the finished result after scraping. So as you can see, this in the water is all the stuff I scraped off.
So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pump all of this dirty water out. I think I've got a spare bucket that we're gonna put it in. I'm gonna find that. Now it's time to add some sand. I was trying to do a lot of research about what the best substrate was, and everybody has different answers. Some people say, no, don't use rocks because they could get impacted. Sand is the best. Or they'll say, no, don't use sand, they'll get impacted. Rocks is the best. Or no substrate. I'm trying to mimic closest to what they have in the wild, which is sand.
So there were some neighborhood kids playing outside, and I didn't want them to make fun of me for talking to the camera, so this segment is going to be rinsing our sand ASMR. Enjoy.
Okay, so I rinsed the sand and now I'm going to attempt to put it in the tank. Don't tell Loki, but I dropped his arm in the tank. Now it's time to add some of our plants. So I got a mixture of, Java Fern, Anubias, and then I got some other really pretty one. I can't remember his name, but I did look it up to make sure it's axolotl safe. That is one thing, if you're adding plants to axolotl tank, you have to make sure they're not toxic. Some of them are toxic to axolotls. So yeah, let's go ahead and add those. Okay, so now I'm gonna add this pothos that I have been propagating for a few months now. So it's grown a lot of roots and I think it's gonna do really good. I also got this propagation like stand thing off of Amazon, so we're gonna put it in there and then eventually probably add more leaves too. I would love to have a lot of pothos growing through, and I think they would like to kind of play in the roots. So let's add that too. This is really cool. So you just slide the leaves through the holes and then you slide this shut and then the roots will hang down in the water. I love it. I'm gonna have to use that more often. All right, now we're gonna add their two little favorite PVC pipes. Do you guys see that? Oh, okay, we're gonna clean them and then we're gonna add them. Okay, so I put them in opposite corners so they'll kind of have their own space. Okay, second to last step is getting the filter set up and ready to go. I have a canister filter that I have been using on my goldfish tank, but I had 2 canister filters going at once and I feel like I can sacrifice one and just clean the other more often. So I'll show you the canister filter I'm using. I'm using it because it already also has beneficial bacteria from the goldfish, which will help kind of jumpstart the cycling. So hopefully it will cycle quickly.
All right, so here's my filter. I just need to add the hoses, get it plugged in and ready to go. Oh, I need to wipe off the sides of that too.
I have a lot of cleaning to do, I think. Okay, I'm using 2 aquarium fans to keep the aquarium cool because axolotls like it cold. We also have a chiller on the way to help regulate, but I really like these fans because it shows the temperature. It's got a little temperature gauge, and then if it starts to get like at the proper temperature, then it turns off. If it starts to get warm, it turns on. So yeah, these are great. All right, finally, we can add water. It is nighttime and I think Link is sick of me being in here while he's trying to sleep. He keeps giving me dirty looks, so we're gonna finish this up so the axolotls can come home and I can go to sleep. I was trying to pick up the buckets to dump in there and I was like, in the words of Patrick, wait, we have technology. So I'm going to use this to pump the water in like a smart person. Why didn't I do this before? I literally lugged one big bucket up.
Okay, now I'm adding some fresh water in too. We've got this hose that we can hook up to our sink. It goes in there. The axolotls are going in. Oh, I hope they fit. I mean, that'll be fine. Yeah, that actually will work fine. Are they okay?
Yeah. Moving around.
I'm not dead. That's good. What'd you say?
My feet are gritty.
Yeah, we're just not going to talk about the shape the room is in. It's fine.
Okay, so now I'm going to use some of this quick start. This is if you are needing a tank to cycle quickly, which we need it to cycle very quickly. This is what you should use.
All right, so we have the axolotls floating in their bucket. They've got a little air hole. The water looks very foggy because the sand needs to settle, which it should settle here really soon. We're gonna give them 30 minutes of floating.
Hey, Sleepy Tay here. It is about midnight and I normally go to bed at 9:30, so I'm very tired. But the sand has not settled yet, which is not ideal because their gills are so sensitive. So me and Sam were doing some research. In emergency situations, some people have kept their axolotls in buckets of cycled water for like several weeks. We're not going to do that. Obviously, that's not ideal. None of this is ideal. But we're going to keep them overnight in the bucket. The bucket is floating in the tank water, so they're going to be totally acclimated to that temperature. We have it at 68, which is an ideal temperature for axolotls. and then we are going to check in the morning and see if the sand has all settled. And I'm going to go to sleep because I'm so tired. And you know what? The axolotls are worth it. I hope. Hi, sleepy dinner here. I just woke up. But the tank looks really good. I think it's completely settled. So now we're gonna do a drip test with them. Okay, I think we're gonna go ahead and add them. We've been doing drip something, adding water for the past 30 minutes. And so now we're gonna add them. All right, so the axolotls have been in their new tank for, I think, about 3 days, and they're doing great. So water is looking a lot clearer. We did a water test and the chemistry is looking good. There's still some things to iron out, but we're getting pretty much cycled. And now I'm going to feed them for the first time. I'm gonna try something called cup feeding. I've seen a lot of people do it with their axolotls. So basically I'm gonna take this cup, and then I have these little frozen brine shrimp. They're called gumdrops. I'm gonna put one of those in there. It helps prevent them from ingesting sand, and it also helps keep the tank a little bit cleaner. The previous owner just fed axolotl pellets. I like to try to vary their diet a little bit more. So I'm gonna also put a few of those pellets in there just because that's what they're used to. So maybe they'll eat the pellets, but then also be interested in the brine shrimp as well. So let's do that. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and place my cups. I have 2 cups. That way there is no fighting. I'm gonna put one on one end and one on the other. Oh my gosh, their water is so cold. That water is so cold. Which is good, that's what we're going for, but I can't imagine how they live like that. Here are their pellets. I'm gonna put a few of their little pellets in each cup. All right, now let's try to open the gumdrops. They're not yummy like gumdrops. Ugh, that's disgusting. Right next to it, dude. So I've been sitting here watching them, and Totoro, he figured out the cup method right away. Ponyo, not so quick, but I think she'll get the hang of it. I do think that next time what I'll do is I'll put the food in first and kind of put my finger over it because some food did escape. But besides that, I think this method is gonna work really well for me. All right, so a few final things before I go. We did get our aquarium chiller in, and it's working great. Sam tried to rig up a DIY chiller, and it was not powerful enough. They just need their water really cold. So if you're getting axolotls, don't try to cut corners. Just go ahead and get a good chiller because temperature is so important. Another thing, I work at a vet clinic. So I talked to my exotic vet, my vet that specializes in exotics, and I showed her pictures of Ponyo's belly and the spot on Totoro's back, and she agreed with me that mainly Totoro, he looked a little bit concerning. So we're gonna try to do something called an FNA, which is basically where we get a small sample with a needle from that spot on his back, and we just look at it under a microscope to make sure there's nothing serious in there. But before we do that, we're gonna do a little bit more research and just see what's best, because what I'm reading, it doesn't really seem like axolotls necessarily scar. But the owner did say that the spots have remained the same, that they haven't grown since she's gotten them. But I'm going to keep an eye on them. I'll keep you updated on what we find out. But I'm so in love with them. I feel like I can finally breathe because their tank is doing really good. But I can't wait to make more videos about this. I hope to do more rescuing in the future. Like this video if you want to see more content of the axolotls, and if you want to see videos of my other critters. Thank you so much for watching.